April onwards will be the beginning of a festival which is a mark of identity and pride for the temple city of Madurai. Each year, this festival sees lakhs of devotees gather at the Meenakshi Amman Kovil in Madurai to mark the coronation of Devi Meenakshi Amman and her wedding to Sri Sundareshwar Shiva, with Lord Vishnu visiting Madurai from the Adagar Kovil in a nearby village. Vanakkam, this is New India Junction and I am your host, Nivedita Tiwari. Tunga Nagaram, or the city that never sleeps. That is the name by which Madurai is famously called. Situated on the banks of the Vaigai river, the city of Madurai is unique as it was centered around the temple of Devi Meenakshi Amman. As early as 550 AD, Madurai was an important commercial center which engaged in trade with Rome and Greece. The great Sangamera epic Silappatikaram mentions the city of Madurai, which was cursed to burn to the ground by the fierce and upset Kannagi before she consigned herself to flames for a judgment mistake by its Pandya ruler, Nidanjali. The historicity of the temple is perhaps immemorial. The great Nayanar, Thirignana Sambandar, has mentioned the temple in his songs, which go back to the early 7th century. The city, famous for its various temples dating back to the era of the Pandyas and the Nayakas, also withstood the invasions and pillaging of Khiljis under their general Malik Kafur and saw its revival as recorded by the Vijayanagar princess, poet Ganga Devi in Madhur Vijayam. The city and its temples have also served as the ground for major cultural events that stand testimony to the continuing heritage of Indic traditions, passing down over thousands of years. Each year, the month of Chithirai on the Tamil calendar witnesses the beginning of the Madurai Chithirai Thizuvizha. The festival is extremely important as it marks the sanctity of the temple as well as the historicity of Madurai, underscoring the intertwined nature of the two. According to folklore, in ancient times there were two separate festivals, one Shaivite and one Vaishnavite during the Chithirai month. During the reign of the Nayaka kings, they united both with an interesting story which actually unites both Shaivism and Vaishnavism, symbolic also of dharmic unity. As per the legend, Meenakshi was the daughter of Pandya king Malay Dhwaj Pandyan and queen Kanchana Malai. The royal couple didn't have a child for a long time. So Malay Dhwaj Pandyan performed special pujas and offered his prayers to God. During the puja, a small girl came out of the fire and sat on the lap of the king. At that time, a divine voice from the sky told them that this child was an incarnation of Shakti and Lord Shiva himself would come to marry her at the right age. Meenakshi was trained in warfare and was crowned as the queen of Pandya kingdom after her father. She conquered the whole world with her extraordinary war skill and at last she went to Kailash to conquer it. When Meenakshi confronted Lord Shiva in the battlefield, she fell in love with him and realized that she is an avatar of Shakti. Lord Shiva assured Meenakshi that he will come to Madurai to marry her. As promised, Lord Shiva along with all the Devas and Rishis came to Madurai. The wedding was planned, invitations were sent out. The elder brother of goddess Meenakshi, god Kalladagar, was to give away the bride in the marriage. He started from his abode in the Adagar hills, 20 kilometers away from Madurai. However, the dense forest of the hills delayed his journey. Meanwhile, in Madurai, due to the delay of the Kalladagar, the local brother of goddess Meenakshi, Koodalladagar Perumal, gives away goddess Meenakshi to Lord Sundareshwar. Lord Kalladagar is almost 2 days late, and when he crosses the Vaigai river, he hears the news of his sister's marriage and is furious that the marriage happened without him. He immediately returns to Adagar Kovil and during his return, devotees spray water on him to cool down his temper. This is the famous Adagar festival in Vaigai river. To pacify him, Meenakshi and Lord Shiva came to Vaigai river. It is there that Kalladagar chose to give all the gifts that he had carried for the wedding to Meenakshi and Sundareshwarar in a mandapam in the middle of the Vaigai river. He then returned to Adagar hill without entering Madurai. The temple and its festivals had lost their sheen. thanks to the destruction of the Khilji forces that had left Madurai bare, followed by the cruelty of the Madurai Sultanate. When the Nayaka kings came into power in Madurai after a period of painful and barbaric rule of sultans, they started renovating the temple and restoring these festivals. The festival had lost its sheen but was revived thanks to the Nayaka ruler of Madurai, Thirumalai Nayak. Legend has it that he shifted the capital of the kingdom back to Madurai after goddess Meenakshi cured a disease which was troubling Thirumalai Nayak for a long time, so he could get a darshan of the goddess each day. Thirumalai Nayak then focused on bringing the Meenakshi temple back to its glory. As part of his revival of the temple, he changed the Masi festival, which happened during the month of February-March, to Chithirai. The grand festival is celebrated for 15 days, starting with the Dwaja Arohanam on the first day. Both Meenakshi and Sundareshwarar are taken around the 4 Masi streets every day in different vahanas. On the 8th day, the coronation of goddess Meenakshi is celebrated. On the 10th day of the festival, the celestial wedding ceremony of Meenakshi and Sundareshwarar is performed. During the auspicious time of the wedding, it is customary for the women devotees of Madurai to change their Mangal Sutra, known as Tadi, with a new one. The following day, there is a big car festival where both deities go around the city with lakhs of devotees pulling them. Next day, the Meenakshi temple festival comes to a close. However, Lord Kalladagar starts from his abode on the same day and reaches the outskirts of Madurai. A ceremonial welcome is provided to him by the people of Madurai. The next day, during the full moon day of Chitra Paunami, Lord Kalladagar graces the river Vaigai and provides darshan to his devotees. He remains in Madurai for a couple of days before returning to his abode. With the onset of COVID pandemic, the 2020 Chithirai Thizuvizha saw a simple celestial union taking place that was streamed online. For the first time in human memory, the city had stared at empty roads as the festival was cancelled due to the COVID-19 induced lockdown. With the blessings of Devi Meenakshi, Sri Sundareshwarar and Sri Kalladagar, the festival will pass off without much problem, and the Devas bless Tamil Nadu and India to be freed from this pandemic at the earliest. Keep watching New India Junction. Namaste.